Gonna do a quick story time. And I don't do these very often. I really should do them more. Because the thing is, like, with the Novations, you do run into, like, crazy stuff. And I'll give you guys a little story about what happened today. Okay, we just got off the phone right now. So we had a seller that's supposed to be closing at 7 and signing at 7 o'clock tonight, Texas time, right? So about 45 minutes ago. So this gal, the mobile notary shows up and she looks at it. So her net amount on the contract is $143,500, right? $143,500. Okay, she owed taxes for this year, prorated taxes, right? That's how it always works. We explain it when we sign the initial contract. It's in there in writing. But you know sellers, sometimes they forget, they get it in their mind that they get a certain amount. Now, this wasn't the major problem. So her initial complaint was that the taxes were being taken out, and she said they're not due till November, and she wasn't going to sign. Okay, so obviously it's a scary thing to have a seller at a closing table. The buyer, we found out, self-employed and like barely qualified for the loan. They were supposed to use something with his taxes. They had to use a P&L. He had another business that wasn't disclosed. There's a bunch of stuff going on. But besides, so we explained everything about the taxes and we put out that fire. But the thing was, the numbers were still off. And we didn't know why. So we had to have her come on and basically read her settlement statement. And she went and took some pictures so we could compare notes. And what we found out was the title company did not take out the notary fee on the settlement statement that they gave us when we calculated our invoice, right? So if there's new charges they add on there after we already give our invoice with our net fees on there, then it automatically comes out of the seller's side because they don't know to take it out of our side, right? This is a new title company we're using in Texas. So this is our first novation with them, right? They were recommended by someone that does novations, but there's humans involved, so sometimes there's errors, right? So basically this is what she tells us. Look, if the numbers are wrong, I'm not signing. I don't care what you say, I'm not signing, right? So what did I do, right? I agreed with her. So what I did was I agreed with her and say, hey, look, I completely understand. If the numbers aren't right, we need to get this sorted out. So I didn't try to argue with her. You always got to first agree with them and acknowledge the way that they feel. And I did that too. I empathize with her. I say, listen, I appreciate you taking this so well. You know, we've done so many deals from time to time. You know, anytime there's humans involved, there can be errors. And I'm glad that you're coming to us with this and we're going to solve this. We need to make sure you get every single penny that you're owed and everything's done correctly. So this is what we're going to do, Mrs. Seller. You don't have to sign anything right now. But if you can just stay there for right now, because we're going to get to the bottom of this and figure out what went wrong. We're going to run our numbers. We're going to call our agent. We need to talk to the buyer's agent. Because Mrs. Seller, the one thing that we are concerned with, I don't know what the case is, but from time to time with buyers, sometimes their loan qualification is only good through a certain date. And if it goes past that date, their rate can change and sometimes they will not qualify. So how much is the fee? The fee on this was a little one. It was like a little bit less than $11,000. It was like $10,000 and some change. But the seller needed it to close. Obviously, we don't want to lose money, right? And especially over a stupid title issue, right? There's enough things that can go wrong with deals. We don't want this to be what was wrong. So we explained to her, hey, look, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Sit tight. I just want to make sure we're not in a situation where we lose the entire deal, because that's going to be a horrible conversation for us to have. And I can't in good conscience go through and, just say, hey, leave right now. I want to make sure that we're at least in stable ground, right? So we get off the phone with her, we call the agent, and we find out our buyer is self-employed. He had a business that he didn't disclose on the lending docs, and basically he either didn't have tax returns or his tax returns weren't right, and he had to use a P&L to qualify. So we're on shaky ground, and we're trying to get a hold of the buyer's agent. We can't. 7 o'clock on a Friday, she's not picking up the phone. Our agent did, because our agent's fucking a badass, right? Because that's all we work with. But So we're talking to the agent. She's like, look, if I were you, I would do what you need to do to get her signed today because I can't guarantee you that it'll close on Monday. So I'm talking with my JV partner, Shane. Cool ass dude, Shane Fleming. What up if you're on here, bro? And so basically we call her back and we just have a heart to heart with her. We're like, hey, listen, this is what's going on. I know, we're all wanting this deal to close. The situation is, and we explain what was going on with the buyer. We're like, look, we can't guarantee you that the deal will close. And I said, look, I will do whatever it takes to make you whole, right? I'm going to make sure if I got to pay it out of my pocket, if I got to Zelle you, if I got to send it right now, like I will gladly do it. I want to make sure this deal goes through for our sake and for yours, right? And for the buyer. They want the house, right? So basically what we did is we went back over the settlement statement because the only thing that was coming out of her side was the prorated taxes. So once we got her back on board with the prorated taxes, we calculated. I was like, look, I'm going to put this in my calculator. You can follow along with me if you want to. And let's get this sorted out, right? Because I want to make sure that this deal closes. She's like, okay, all right, let's figure it out, right? So we went through and we put everything in. We put in her 143, we minus the taxes. We found out what that was. I said, look, we're basically at a $287 discrepancy. I said, I will gladly send you the money right now. Like, we can sort this out on Monday. I want to make sure that we can, I want to make sure that, we can keep this deal together. And we went back and forth a little bit. And she's like, look, I just want this to close. That's fine, thank you. I got her bank info. Of course, she didn't have Zelle or Cash App, right? Because that would be way too easy. So I got her bank info, and I'm gonna try to wire the money. And if we can't do that tomorrow, I'm just gonna send her like a cashier's check in the mail. That's what she wanted. So long story short, because look, I've been in this position before, right? If the settlement statement's wrong, or even if it's right and the seller thinks it's wrong, people sometimes flip out. Like they flip out. I've been cussed out by an old man before. I've had deals almost fall apart. I've never actually lost a deal at the closing table, but it's a scary situation to be in, right? And this is why it's so important for the title company on a novation to be in good communication with you. Like this title company added fees after we already approved the final settlement statement. They didn't contact us about it and let us know. You know what I mean? And it wasn't properly balanced. It wasn't off by much, but they were taking money away from the seller that shouldn't have been taken away from her. And it's the principle of it, right? We want our numbers to be right. So long story short, she's like literally signing right now because otherwise we would have had to do it Monday at 7 p.m. because her husband, ex-husband like works during the day and he drives like a freaking cargo train around. So there's no meeting up with him at work. And I was, here's the thing with her. I was making jokes at certain points when it was appropriate, right? Trying to lighten the mood. But that's what you have to do. Look, you have to be empathetic. You have to acknowledge their feelings and acknowledge their position and let them know that it's like, you understand why they feel that way. That's very important. Like you can't argue with them. Now's not the time for that because with certain people, like that will blow the deal. It will piss them off and it will send them to like a new place, right? So long story short, we save the deal. One last little excitement for the Friday night. It's my boy Shane. I think it's his first novation. He's done a bunch of wholesale deals, a bunch of other deals. First novation. He sent me, we've got 3 deals, 2 deals. I know we have at least 2. We've got this one and we got another one in Texas, Nina. And that's closing, I believe, next week. But Shane's a badass. He entered my course. We're JVing 2 deals, his first 2 novations. Like we went through some crazy shit on this one. Like he learned a bunch of stuff. Cool ass dude, really sharp, great salesman. He's gonna freaking kill it with these. But this is what I was telling him, is the key with these, you're never gonna have all the answers. There's always gonna be new stuff that you don't know how to do. This is what you need to get a firm grasp on. This is the best core skill set to have, is knowing how to talk to people and knowing how to present things and knowing how to steer conversations in the direction that you want, and then knowing how to find the people that have the answers, because you're never going to have all the answers yourself. So you need to know, like, okay, who do I contact to find this out? How do I calm the seller down? And that's the key, right? But this could have definitely gone left. Like, we could have lost this deal very easily. And I'm glad, I've been in this position before. It all ended up working out. But yeah, like, obviously it wasn't fun to go through this. Like, I thought I'd already be like chilling right now. Like, this is just a last minute thing, but you gotta do that sometimes, right? You gotta take the late calls. You gotta solve the problem, because the seller, she was freaking tripping, right? And for her, it's a lot bigger deal than it is for us. But you have a responsibility to the sellers. Like, you really do. Like, when you take on these deals, you're making money. Like, you have a responsibility. You are the one ultimately that has to make sure that things go right for them, because they're not going to be able to do it themselves. And that's why they, they're doing the deal with us, is they want our expertise. So cool, man. Appreciate y'all. Look, if you have a lead that you think may be a good fit for a Novation deal, if you go to novationjv.com, you can submit it there. Okay. In a perfect world, we want the deal to be 90% of as is retail, what it would sell for on the market in 30 days without doing any work, minus 30K. So that's kind of an ideal lead for this, right? We do as is properties. It can be a complete dump as long as it's priced right, as long as it's priced below where we can make at least 30K selling it for what other properties like that are sold for. So y'all, I'm gonna head out right now. Appreciate y'all.